We are very close from getting the One UI 7 beta. All indicators are showing that we're probably gonna get the One UI 7 beta, hopefully on Android 15, somewhere in the beginning of September or even mid of September. And in this video, guys, I want to use again the opportunity and revise the S24 Ultra with the latest One UI Home update, because there are really some changes that I missed the first time. You know that we're now using 15.5.031, and there are some things that are very similar to the iPhone to iOS, which I'm going to show in this video. So practically, guys, in this video I'm going to compare one more time the final stable update that I'm getting on my iPhone 15 Pro Max with the latest stable August update that I'm using on my S24 Ultra, and try to show you how Samsung are implementing some things that Apple is already using. I don't want to say copy, because in this business everyone is copying from everyone, which I guess is quite the norm these days. But I want to show you something that I was made aware by one of you, so really thank you so much for this. And I do believe that although this is something very tiny, I missed this, so most probably you missed this as well, right? And although again very tiny, it has to do a lot with some similarities we get also on iOS. So let me just show you guys. I have here the S24 Ultra, the A53 5G, and the A32. All right. So what happens when I press an icon? Okay, nothing, right? You get the selections. So this here is One UI 6. Same here. Right. You just get a selection. So I'm gonna do this one more time slowly, and you just focus on the icon, the gallery icon. All right. I'm just clicking it. Okay, we get a selection. Clicking on the A53, all right, and now pay attention, guys. I'm gonna click on the S24 Ultra with the latest One UI Home that is supposedly used in all the devices that have One UI 6.1.1, which are the Z series, like the Z Flip 6 and the Z Fold 6. So see, the moment I touch the icon, all right, paying attention, I'm gonna do this one more time, all right. See here, the icon turns dark before it illuminates, all right. And this is not only here, guys, this happens everywhere. Like all the icons that I do slightly touch, they just become selected, and they have this very nice and subtle animation, okay? And I can show you here, all right, it's the same story on all the phones with the old launcher. They don't have this. Now, why is this important, guys? Let me bring the iPhone 15 Pro Max and show you. So I do believe that really Samsung are taking some inspiration from iOS, and I also want to show you the version of the OS that I'm running on both devices. So I'm just gonna go scroll down to software update. This is the latest one that I have here. Latest one on the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the iOS 17.6.1. Here I have the One UI 6.1 with the security patch level from 1st of August. It is the version AXGF. And again, this is something so tiny, I missed this, but again, thanks to you guys, really, I was able to open my eyes and see it, because this thing here definitely comes from iOS, or let's say it's very similar, because see what happens. I'm gonna try to do the same thing again with the gallery, right? The moment I just go and touch the icon, it darkens a bit, and this is going to happen in every icon here on iOS, all right? So that's why I'm saying, right? I want to say that Samsung are copying Apple, because again, in this business, everyone is copying everyone, which I guess is good, because we, the end users, at the end should only leverage and benefit from this competition. But I do believe that the latest One UI Home, specifically this version here, the latest One UI Home with version 15.5.031, is really trying to improve on the user experience. Now, I did a separate video testing the latest launcher on my S24 Ultra and also on my S23 Ultra. I'm using that one to record a video right now, so you can check it here. But it's very important to say that a lot of you out there installed the latest version, and they're really impressed with the animations. Now, I've been also using it for a few days, and again, I'm not so much impressed with, let's say, the animations, because they're pretty much the same. I'm just a bit impressed with the consistency, and let me try to elaborate here. So if I do something like this, right, and I do this 10 times, right, consistency means that I can repeatedly execute an action, right, 100 times, and maybe 90% of the time, like 90 times, I'm gonna get a nice animation, no stutter whatsoever. So I do believe that with the latest One UI Home launcher, indeed this consistency has been improved, and the overall device feels a bit smoother, but it is still not perfect. As I've been testing this a few days, I still get this occasional micro stutters once in a while, but again, what is very important is now they implemented this small change, right? And I'm not even sure if this is only, let's say, an animation tweak to somehow darken the icon, or this is something more. But again, thanks to one of you guys, let me know this fact. Right now the whole thing seems to be aligned with this here, right? And we, by the way, also know iOS 18, right? I don't have this because it's a beta. iOS 18 is trying to align to this thing here, so bringing widgets, allowing you to reorder the icons. So eventually in the next few years, hopefully we're gonna get Android in Samsung smooth animation like iOS, hopefully, and then we get customization level in iOS that we're used to see in Android since the last 10, probably even more than 10 years. But enough, this is just a short intro. Now guys, I want to compare the animations of those phones. Again, all of them running the latest software. We're going to start with the always on display. You know that the S24 Ultra has this new feature that can show the wallpaper on the always on display. Again, something that we have also here. And if I double tap the screen right now, I'm going to get to the lock screen. The same happens also on the iPhone. Right now, boom, this is the always on display. A double tap wakens the phone. Same pretty much here. Now I want to show you guys something. I do believe that a lot of the stutters with the Samsung phones are due to the fact that the moment you try to invoke the viewfinder, the refresh rate of the screen gets directly from 120 Hz to 60 Hz. And I do have a feeling that the iPhone is just implementing things in a whole lot of different way, and they don't suffer from this. And you also know that a lot of the influencers out there, they just prefer the iPhone for the use of social apps like Insta and etc. And this only has to do with the fact that on the iPhone, when you're using, let's say, Insta, right, and the moment you, let's say, invoke the camera, you're using actually the stock camera from the phone, right? Let's say the integration is really very good here. I'm not sure if that's the case, but a lot of people out there, they're just reporting that the moment they try to use the Insta camera or let's say Snapchat, it is not ideal. And by the way, see here guys, this is what I'm talking about. The moment I transition from the camera, the way that is implemented in One UI, it's different. See here guys, all right? The moment I try to invoke the camera, right? See, the camera is just like you pop up another application, but it is very much smooth and you don't get to have this stutter and jitters. Here in the One UI, the moment I try to do so, right, the issue might come from the fact that I'm using now 120 Hz refresh, and the moment I start invoking the viewfinder, I am dropping back to 60 Hz. Okay, and how can I prove this to you guys? I'm gonna go inside my developers option. So see, 120 Hz, all right? I'm not touching the screen, 24 Hz. So let me try to lock the phone. All right, always on display, clearly 60 Hz, drop to 24. Going to the lock screen, 80 Hz, right? Now unlocking the phone will get me to 120 Hz, and now I'm gonna start Instagram, is 120 Hz, right? So if I'm just browsing the application, right, I don't think that it runs worse than on the iPhone. Quite the contrary, or let's say even better. And the moment I invoke the camera, see what happens guys. So I'm slightly going to the right, and boom, my refresh rate goes from 120 to 60, and this could be the reason why we have this choppy animation. Also, when I go outside, right, sometimes again from 60 to 120, this is like this. On the iOS, it just feels like magic, like it is so smooth. And I do believe that this is one of the things Samsung with One UI 7 should address. The way we have the animations right now, I do believe are quite nice. All right, let me just open settings. Okay, what they just need to improve is consistency first, which means you do this animation 100 times and it should work flawless 99 out of 100, right? So 99%. And the second thing is maybe they should do something with this thing on the viewfinder. I'm not sure if they can up the viewfinder to 120 Hertz. Who knows, maybe an S25 and S25 Ultra. The moment I open Instagram and I try to just scroll down and invoke the camera, we're gonna have a smoother animation here on the iOS, and I do believe that the reason is this refresh rate. Who knows what else, right? Maybe not using the native camera whatsoever, although Samsung, they work with TikTok, you know, to just get an elevated experience with the cameras. But again, I'm not into this influencer shit, so I don't know really how it goes. Now, let me try to show you a bit more of the animations, because I wanted to compare like this latest status, right, before we get here to One UI 7, because I'm not even sure that at this point of time we're gonna get 1.6.1.1, but who knows. Even when I press a folder, we're gonna see that we're now having this, I'm not sure if I can call it like the iOS effect, right, but for sure it has the same type of behavior. So let me just hold the folder, boom. Okay, I do like the fact that a One UI folder is jumping and bouncing, and this, by the way, happens on every single icon. So even if I hold this icon, right, I can hold it like this. See, it's a bit more static in iOS. And also guys, we have a nice blur around the icon and the context menu here, but we have a nice layer of blur here in One UI, right? So no blur here, so I guess it's just a matter of personal preference. Although every icon I hold off like this, we're gonna get these bouncy animations, right? Also, you have different type of context menus. Sometimes it's like this, sometimes I guess it could be better. Let's try to see, for example, on Telegram. Okay, see, it's a bit better here. I get a conversation with the people that I usually talk to, and again we have this nice icon. All right, so let's try to do some animation comparison. So I'm gonna open the folder. All right, we have nice blur everywhere. Close the folder. Okay, this works like a charm. If I swipe like this, right, we're gonna get the notifications. Now, a lot of people do praise this type of notifications. I like this thing here better with notification and also with my quick settings. You know how it goes on the iPhone. If you wanna get your quick settings, you have to do it from here. And if you use a Xiaomi phone with HyperOS or MIUI, then you must probably familiar with this type of setup. So swipe down on the top right corner, you're gonna get the quick settings on both phones. When you just do it like this, in the center, you're gonna get straight notifications on the iPhone, and here you're gonna get the main toggles with the notifications. Everything else pretty much works in the same way. You just are able to swipe and just get rid of them. If you go to the very right, you're gonna get some widgets, better information, whatever you want, or you can of course try to edit this, and now you have this bounciness effect. There are tons of things that you can add like the widgets, but here I do have my Google, and honestly I use this every day, so I will never want to let go of this. In terms of recent menu, guys, now something very important, there is this close button that exists here. And I don't think that the close button exists also on the Pixel. The idea is that the phone should know better than you how much apps to keep in the RAM, what to do with the RAM, etc. So right now I can close everything. If I want to do this on the iOS, I have to go like crazy and just kill one by one until I get down and close everything. So recent menu, boom, nothing there. And if I go back on my home screen on the iPhone, see, nothing there. So now let me just show something else that is interesting. The folder opening, I think a bit faster on the Samsung and a bit slower, right, on the iPhone. Okay, I can just check it from here. But now pay attention, guys. I can open Telegram, right, and show you the speed. So when you browse, it's kind of the same. The moment I go outside, I'm gonna get back to the folder. The moment I do this on my Samsung, I'm gonna get back on my home screen, right? But if I want to go back inside the folder, I can just go and return here. You cannot do this on the iPhone, or at least I didn't find a way how you can do this. Like every time you just go outside, you go back to the folder. Here I have the option to go back on my home screen, right? Or let's say I can also go back directly in the folder. And there is this other thing, guys. This only works in a few menus. I have also this predictive back gesture. See, now I can open the connections and I can just do like this. I'm gonna very quickly see what is my other menu. On the iPhone, it's like this. I'm gonna go to date and time, and then if I go back, the previous screen is stacked below this, right? Here it's a whole different story, but this pretty much reminds of Instagram. So let's say if I open Insta and I go and try to choose the camera, all right, it's gonna get stuck the way it is right now. And the transition here is very smooth, and you can just see, by the way, it's in real time, right? So this is the most impressive things. And you don't have to deal with these occasional lags. This thing here isn't that great, right? So again, one thing that Samsung for sure should just straight copy out of the iOS and the iPhones and just give us this improved elevated experience. Else, let's try to test some widgets. All right, this is the weather widgets, opening and closing. All right, one more time, weather, closing. See, I think that both phones are doing a good job. Opening a Telegram. All right, and now going outside. I do believe that the animations in One UI and in iOS are very good. The only issue here with the One UI is with the consistency. I don't think there are a lot of issues with iPhones because they're really so smooth, right? But there are some things that are really annoying. But see, even this one here, like every time you press it and the weight goes back, the weight zips back, I mean, it's just better, right? More animated. And also, guys, if you see, the moment you start pressing on this, the bar becomes a small bar, right? You can use the big bar here, but the moment you start using the buttons, it will not obstruct your view. And on Android, it's sadly this. Of course, you have more options, but in the end of the day, there are these very small things that set iOS apart. Like really, all the animations are crazy good. There are no visible stutters. Of course, not all the time, right? Like sometimes even the iPhone 15 Pro Max can stutter, but I just wanted to show you this in this video, that I believe this is really important. And again, thanks to one of my subscribers who really opened my eyes to see this. Like just this thing alone, right, means that Samsung are indeed trying to bring up their game to the next level, and we can only hope that this next level, hopefully on iOS 7, is gonna be good for all of us. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to check on some of my other videos, the comparison with using the latest One UI home screen, just do so. Stay safe. We'll see you over and bye.